Good
Happy
morning.
Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. You are tuned in for the WOW podcast, WOWW, Wendy's on Wellness Wednesday. I am Dr. Wendy Sue Massey. I'm an alternative medical practitioner, holistic nutrition specialist, and a lover of all things natural. And this is my dear friend, Wendy Flournoy.
Good morning. I'm Wendy Flournoy. I am a certified hypnotherapist, a herbalist in the making, and lover of all things natural too.
All right. Well, we have got an exciting show for you today. Wendy and I were talking. One thing that we are so passionate about is keeping things thrifty. We are both thrifty girls. And it always gets to us when we hear people make the excuse that they won't get into this lifestyle because it costs too much.
I can't
And we
afford it.
love to show people how affordable it can be. If you're willing to take on a few things on your own that really aren't that hard.
Yeah. Just
So
a
we
little
wanted
bit of
to,
time. When you don't have money, you typically have time.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
yeah. And there's a lot of things that we're going to show you today that don't take even that much time other than waiting. You put something together, it sits.
That's
So
right.
there's a lot of things like that that you can take on, and you can start with just one. So we
Yeah.
wanted to show you some of the ingredients that we keep on hand that we make ourselves. A, it's a whole lot cheaper, and B, it's
Non-toxic.
yeah, it's non-toxic. You know what the heck you're feeding your family.
Yeah.
And so anyway, we're excited to show all that to you all today, to share all that with y'all. I had something laid on my heart yesterday, and I'm just feeling real heavy with October being on us. And
There's a
I,
lot going on. And
yeah,
first, we want to send our prayers out to Tennessee and North Carolina and everybody affected by Helene.
yeah,
Devastation. It
yeah,
just breaks my heart. And I'm just praying for them, all,
yeah.
everyone.
Florida, Georgia,
Yeah.
South Carolina, all of them. But I have a big place in my heart for the Appalachian region. That's where all my family's from. And I know, not across the board, but I know how much poverty is there
Yeah.
already, and how many of these people barely survive as it is, but they're also, very independent.
Yes.
They don't call on the government for
Nope.
help. They don't need,
They're not looking for handouts.
no, they just make it.
Yep.
And the thing is, and a lot of people don't understand that. I didn't realize to what degree until I befriended the owner of the Five Loaves and Two Fishes food pantry out in McDowell County, West Virginia. Bill and I picked them specifically to be the recipients of one of our holiday, actually two of our holiday drives that we do, because I found them knowing that they were in one of the poorest counties in the whole country.
Yeah.
And when I actually went out there and realized they don't, most people in these areas don't even get government assistance because they don't know how.
Yeah.
These towns don't have, big time corporate lawyers that are out there, saying, hey, I can help you get this money. I can help you get that money. They don't understand the red tape. They don't understand the bureaucracy. So they don't do it.
Yep.
So
And I
many,
don't think that a lot of them want it either.
they don't. A
You
lot of
know?
them don't. But even if they, like even my friend's food pantry, there's
Yeah.
things that they could probably do to get assistance from the
Right.
government to help them. It's not one of those things that there's just common knowledge out there as to how to go about doing this stuff.
Right. Right.
So I immediately just thought about all these people that were in the region, and knowing that they're already forgotten,
Yeah.
and they're okay with that. Most of them living there are okay with that.
Yeah.
But now they're really, I mean, I saw one report yesterday, and I don't know if it's true, that I think it was, oh, I can't think of the name of the town now. It started with an M, McEwen or anyway, I have it written down. But they had population of 715. This was one of the towns in North Carolina, and it's estimated that 200 are dead already.
I saw that same report. Montauk, North Carolina.
Something like that. I
Something
wrote
like
it
that.
down.
Yeah, it was a very small town that pretty much got wiped out, and half of their town is missing.
Yeah.
People.
And and nothing, I am not taking anything away from the devastation in Florida. My goodness, it's terrible.
Oh, it's just
But when these things come through Florida, people are batting down.
more prepared because they get it more often.
Yeah, they're more prepared. I don't believe these people in Tennessee and North Carolina had any clue.
No, well, every report I saw, they weren't calling for anything major in that area.
Mm-mm.
They were like 2 hours before is when they got a heads up.
Yeah. So anyway, my heart's heavy for all of them. I'm kind of waiting for the dust to settle to see how we can help, because I have a big heart for people that are forgotten,
Yes.
and that's why every time Bill and I do anything, whether it be Toys for Tots or anything like that, it's always in the rural communities, because it's incredible the amount of assistance that is available in the cities and taken advantage of in the cities it's not like that out in the
It
rural
doesn't extend
communities.
out.
No.
But I have seen some really good stuff going on, neighbors helping neighbors, and
I have too.
people tend to come together.
Yeah.
Christian ministries heading out there with all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
I know the radio station I listen to, WPER, they're Christian based, and they're loading trucks,
Awesome.
and they're asking for physical help and financial help.
Yeah.
So it's like, the people of the United States are gonna come together.
Yeah.
Even if our government acts like they don't care.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's, there is so much going on right now that it truly, to me, feels like that God versus Satan fight is just ramping up tremendously.
Yeah. And between Helene, there's 5 more storms brewing all around Florida.
That one Kirk, they're saying that's like 5 times bigger than Helene,
which is insane.
We'll pray about that one.
Yeah. And then there's Israel got bombed by Iran yesterday, and Putin calling for a draft in Russia. It's like all these things that are it feels heavy. And then the insanity of our election season, and I watched the debate last night. I actually enjoyed watching that one.
It was extremely civil. I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
It reminded me of debates of old.
Yes, it did me too. I really did. I felt so much better because I felt like they were 2 reasonable humans, and it
sounded like they were both willing to work together to resolve the issues. Mm-hmm. It wasn't about name calling or whatever. Although they put out more on policies for each group than had been done before. So we'll see.
Yeah. And there were some big things that weren't covered last night. They didn't bring up Ukraine.
Nope.
They didn't. There were several things, and I was just like, that's odd.
Yeah.
But anyway, so one of the things that I just really wanted to share with our listeners today and watchers is that I don't think I've shared since we've started the podcast why my business took a more Christian direction. I work with everybody. I help people of all faiths, of no faith, of, whatever situation. But one of the reasons why I just felt so led to go in that direction is I was sitting in church one Sunday, and the message wasn't even about this. It just came flooding over me. Proverbs 31:17, which is the part of the Proverbs 31 woman who I love. I just love her. I strive to be
amazing.
Yes. But Proverbs 31:17 talks about where she's strong for her tasks.
Yeah.
And depending on the version you read, her arms are strong for for her tasks. She carries out her tasks, whatever it is, but she's strong for her tasks is the general meaning of Proverbs 31:17. And I really felt it laid on me that God was letting me know that, you know what? His people are sick
Yeah.
right now. His people are not well, and they're not going to be strong enough for the tasks that he calls them to. And, that really hit me hard because, whether you believe we're in the end times, whether you believe that we have, hundreds of thousands of years left to go, it doesn't matter. Every one of us is here for such a time as this.
That's right.
And
And each and every one has a purpose.
yes,
And we want to make sure that people are strong enough
yeah.
to carry out their purpose.
Exactly. And so that is just when I really felt like I was being called to help guide the church to healing,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's not a Wendy thing, it's a him thing.
Yeah.
But it is that really just hit me hard that, we've got a lot of things that he would love. He doesn't need any of us.
Nope.
He wants to use us
Every
for his
single one.
glory and to increase the kingdom. And if
Okay.
we're not available, and the other thing too, in Matthew 25, when it talks about the bridesmaids,
No. Yes.
half of them were prepared with oil for their lamps, and half of them were like, hey, help a sister out. I don't have any oil. Well, sorry, you weren't prepared. And so it really just hits me so hard in multiple ways
Yeah.
that, being prepared in general for tragedy and for catastrophe, not in a spirit of fear at all, but
No.
just being there, being ready so that we can, show Jesus's love through helping our neighbors, through being able to help others. And not even just in catastrophic events like what we've seen over this last week in,
Every day. Just
yeah,
everyday life.
exactly.
I mean, we all know people that, are sick or in the hospital or just need a little help or recovering from something or whatever. And it's like, it's always nice to be able to do something to
Yeah.
ease their burden or their pain just a little bit.
Yeah. And if you're too ill yourself or fatigued or zero energy or, battling chronic IBS and can't get away from the toilet too far and stuff like that,
Yep.
you're limited. You're limited in what
Yeah.
you can do.
And not because you want to be.
No.
It has nothing to do with because this is what you want. It's because your body is holding you back.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that's why this is such a passion for me and my calling. And I keep dropping hints about the new rebranding that we're going to be going through here in the next couple months. But it is going to be very much firmly planted on 2 Corinthians 3:17, which is wherever the Spirit of the Lord is, there's freedom. And that's what, if you are focused on him and you are, treating your temple the way it was intended for us to treat our temple, he can use us.
That's right.
And it's just such a blessing to be able to do so. None of us wants to come into this world just flailing around, no purpose, and then we die. It's like, what is that all about? We're
I think
all
I think when people feel like they don't have a purpose, it's been my experience that they, you will see a lot more depression.
Oh yeah.
When they feel like they don't have a purpose or don't feel worthy of a purpose. And let me tell you what, no matter what, you are worthy of a purpose.
Oh yes.
God has a plan for you.
Yes.
He has a purpose for you. Doesn't matter what.
Absolutely. My goodness, if he can use a wretch like me,
Amen, sister.
ooh, Lordy.
Amen.
I just, anyway, stepping off my soapbox and off my preacher's pulpit, but it really felt just with this whole, heaviness of October, and I hope and pray that it's just nothing. And, but it's just,
no matter what, God's got it. Let's just keep looking
yeah,
up, keep praying, because I mean, basically that's our biggest power that we have.
absolutely.
We can't, there's a lot of things in this country, in this world, that we cannot control,
Yep.
but we have to do our part
Yeah.
in certain things. We can't sit around and be passive. God wants us to do things,
Yeah.
not just watch things.
Yeah. Yeah. And it doesn't have anything to do with getting us into heaven. We're already going. If
No, that's right.
you
Yeah,
believe and love,
yeah.
you're already there.
Deeds will not get you there.
No, but it's part of the fruit of the Spirit. When
That's
He's
right.
living in you, you want to do more. It's such a beautiful thing.
Yes, it is.
All right, sister. What all ingredients are we going to talk about today? I'm looking at all kinds of jars all around me of stuff.
I don't have too many show and tells, but I got a long list.
Yeah. So,
well, let's just start in the kitchen, whether it's because we've got cleaning products, we've got teas, we've got spice blends. All of it is a great way to get toxins and junk out of your house, out of your food, and doesn't take a lot of time, except for some of the cleaning stuff, or just like tinctures, you just have to wait.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why don't you start with that? Why don't you start with your cleaning stuff?
I can do that because that's the only one I brought, though I have several I make. This is one of my favorite new things I started doing about a year ago. And they're so pretty when you first do them that I actually made up a whole bunch at Christmas and put little ribbons around them and put them in gift baskets for people. But this is my kitchen cleaner. And all I do is I put lemon, and I'll put a whole lemon in one of these. And I tend to squeeze it a little bit just because I like, to go ahead and get some of the liquid in there. But I put the whole cut lemon in there, shove a whole bunch of rosemary. You see, I do not spare anything on the rosemary.
Love it.
And then I fill it to the top with white distilled vinegar. This works incredible. It smells so good.
And that is a tincture, by the way.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. And I use this. I make up a huge batch of it in a bunch of jars and in a spray bottle. Nice. And when my spray bottle's done, I strain it and I just put it right in there. Now in my spray bottle, I just shove everything in there, the rosemary, the lemon, everything. But when I'm dumping this out, because I've let it sit for a while, I just strain it out. And it does so well. Put it
right in a bottle and it's good to go.
Yeah.
That's great for all over the house.
Yeah.
You can use that everywhere, not just the kitchen.
Yeah.
And it smells so good.
It does. It does. And I do a pine, like a homemade pine sol.
Yes.
And I've struggled with it here because we don't have pine here. It's such a big deal when I find a pine branch. I had Bill literally walking all through the woods yesterday, like, we got to have a pine tree somewhere. And he thought I was crazy. And of course, the couple we have, the branches are way up and I'm shaking. It's not doing anything. But all you have to do, if you do have access to pine, shove one of these jars full of pine needles and stems, the little small
twigs, branches.
Yep. And fill that to the top with the white distilled vinegar. And it works amazing as a pine sol blend. Now that one, you want to make sure you let it sit for at least 30 days.
Yes.
Longer if you can, and it works great. But things like these, I do my
hose detergent, dish detergent,
dishwashing liquid, dishwasher detergent. I do a liquid laundry detergent. I'm working right now on, as my liquid is coming to an end, I really want to do powder. And I've kind of gotten in that mindset where I really want something that's going to be more of a space saver. Because if it's powdered, it's more concentrated and you can get more in a space. Yeah. Whereas right now, I've got 2 big old 5-gallon buckets that I have, and then I'll fill them. And so I got rid of all my old bottles that I
Yeah.
used to fill them with. I'm trying to get rid of all the plastic out of my house anyway. So I thought if I could make a concentrated powder, that's
Powder.
the next step.
I'll send you what I'm using that works pretty good. It's
Okay.
powder.
Okay.
I don't have
Good.
it written down with me, but I mean, I only make it like twice a year. I
That's all you have to.
put it in a gallon
Yeah.
jar and put it by the wash machine. Quarter of a cup. That's all you need.
And that's what's so incredible about this is people spend so much money on laundry supplies.
And it's full of crap.
It is. It's horrible. And when I first started making, gosh, how long have we been making that liquid one? That's been probably 10 years.
Yeah.
That
liquid one is awesome.
Yeah.
But you're right. The powder wood saves a lot of space.
Yeah. But I was blown away because I mean, Bill's a plumber. I was an ER nurse getting all kinds of nasty stuff on our clothes, and it cleaned our clothes beautifully. But the thing is, you and I, when we used to coupon, it was like that was our favorite thing to find. We'd get all kinds of, dollar
laundry detergent.
of laundry detergent. But doing it like this, it literally, if you have to buy everything,
yes,
it can cost you under $20.
Yep.
For a 4
probably 25 now.
Yeah, probably 25. When I first did it, it was 20. And the thing is, I bought everything in bulk, so I still have it.
But that's for that $25 lasts about 6 months.
Yeah, if not longer. If not longer.
Yeah,
so
depends on your household size and how, if you've got, when we were doing it back then, I still had kids at home and it was lasting 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it's so much cheaper and works great. And people think, oh, I can't make my own laundry detergent, and all this stuff costs money or it's not going to clean well. Baloney works great. It works great. And then it's toxin free and, so cleaners are a big thing that we make and we keep on hand and, are so easy to do. And the beautiful thing is when you're doing this, because it lasts 6 months, or like when I make my dishwasher detergent, my powdered dishwasher detergent, it lasts me a good 4 months, So you're spending 5 minutes to throw everything in a bowl and mix it up and with a funnel, filling up your jars and sticking them under the sink and you're done. So yes, it can feel overwhelming. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to make all this stuff now. Start with one thing at a time.
One thing.
Yeah.
What's your pressing need?
Yeah.
What are you getting ready to run out of that you could replace it with something different?
And that's what, Wendy and I have been on this track for years. And, for me at first, it was all food. That's all I cared about. That's all I was focused on. But then I started recognizing, I was like, okay, personal care products, the cleaners.
Skin's a big.
Yeah. So started making one thing at a time. And I think my first personal care product I made was lip balm.
Right.
That's like my favorite thing to make because it takes 30 minutes. Yeah.
It's fun.
It takes 30 minutes and it lasts 2 to 3 years. And so I keep them and that's with me giving a lot of them away because, like Bill Swingle comes and he's just like, hey, you got any lip balm? Because he loves
there's only, those few months of the year where you really use that or need it,
And the thing is, thank you for saying that because so many people don't realize that just like we complain about foods that are putting things in their products to make us addicted, they've been doing that with chapstick and all those, all those lip balms for years. They put those alcohols in them that actually dry your lips out. Might not be immediate. You might be thinking, oh gosh, it feels so good. You keep having to put more and more on. When you use my homemade stuff, you use it once. And you might be good for days. It's, if you are in the midst of a bad round of chapped lips, you might use it a couple times a day and you're good. It's incredible. It
lasts. It definitely lasts. It doesn't just, if you're sipping on a drink, it doesn't just automatically come off.
Nope. It's good.
It really moisturizes and gets in there.
Yeah. Yeah. So things like that. And then my goodness, I mean, you make a whole batch for $8,
Yeah.
$10, and
Yeah.
you've got 3 years worth of
And plenty of
lip
gifts to give
balm for your
away
whole family. Huh?
and gifts.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. So, um, do you have any other cleaners you want to mention or
It's so easy just to switch those out
yeah.
because you want a citrus, you want an herb, and you can just go with citrus and vinegar. I
Yeah.
mean, that's enough cleaner.
Yeah.
Um, I like orange just because I
Yeah.
like the smell of the orange.
Yeah. Mhm.
But I will switch up the citrus depending on what kind of mood I am, what season it is. You know,
Yeah.
this time of year, I love to have cinnamon going.
Oh, yes.
Just the fall smells, the
Yeah.
cinnamon and the cloves, and that's what I'm drinking now is an orange cinnamon clove
Yum.
Tulsi tea.
Yum. Yum. Well, it's funny you mentioned that because that's one thing. I used to this time of year cranking up all the pumpkin spice candles and all the
Yeah,
plugins and all that kind of stuff, and I don't use any of that
you
garbage
can
anymore.
make your own.
Yeah, and I keep on hand because every Christmas now I'll dry out apples and oranges, make some little ornaments with,
Yes,
cinnamon and apple and orange slices and everything. And when Christmas is over, it all gets shoved into a bag and becomes potpourri,
that's right.
and it
That's
is
right.
so good. And so if I want, I've already pulled it out for the year. If, I want to get the house smelling good, which actually
Yep.
right now it smells really good because I've got some chicken stock going that we're going to talk about that in a minute.
Yummy.
But if the house is smelling musty or we just come home from vacation or whatever, I just want it to smell good.
Yep.
I'll just put that in a pot on the stove and
Yep.
just simmer it with some cloves and cinnamon and the
Yep.
apples and oranges, and it's
And it's like no matter how long you've had that stuff out,
Mhm.
when it's dried like that, you throw it in a pot and rehydrate it, it's going to smell.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't lose its smell
No.
factor.
And the bay leaves, I always put bay leaves with it too. I
Yes.
mean, it's so just
Well,
smells.
that could be a whole entire podcast, the medicinal benefits of bay leaves.
Mhm.
Maybe I'll take a note and we'll cover that one podcast.
There you go. That's a good idea. That is a good idea. All right. So kitchen ingredients that I just mentioned stock. So why don't we talk about
Yes,
stock?
go into that.
I didn't bring a jar in. I have a million in
Yeah.
my pantry,
Same.
and I'm actually planning on 2 weeks of just making a whole bunch as I'm trying to get through a bunch of scraps I have in my freezer. But there is no bigger cost saving thing that you can do to ensure that you are getting something clean in your kitchen than making your own stock.
And health benefits too.
Yes.
Just
Yes.
especially for this season, this fall winter season.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
there is nothing better than homemade broth when
Exactly.
you're not feeling good.
And the way that I always tell people that you should make it is anytime you have a carcass or bones or anything like that, you hold on to them. Okay. If you're not ready to make it yet, if you don't have enough things to put in your pot yet, then you hold on to them and just zip them up, put them in the freezer.
Same thing with your vegetable scrap.
Yep.
Just I keep a couple of gallon-sized
Exactly.
bags in my freezer,
Yep.
and I throw everything in those bags to
Yep.
save the broth.
Exactly. And so all you do is you take your chicken or your turkey carcass. Don't you waste that turkey at Thanksgiving. Oh my goodness. That makes the best stock or broth. But you put the carcass in your pot, in your crock pot, and you throw veggies in it, throw herbs in it. You can't mess it up.
Nope.
You throw spices in it.
And I'll tell you, I don't even use fresh vegetables. I
Yeah.
use all of my scraps.
Yeah.
And the broth comes out beautiful. I did start adding that kombu that you recommended.
I was just
And
about to mention that.
that darkened up and put so much minerals in the broth. It is amazing.
Yeah. And what Wendy's talking about is I always add a sheet of kombu, which is a type of seaweed that has the highest iodine content. It is so good for our thyroid health, and you're just not getting good sources of iodine naturally in most of our foods these days unless you're eating sea vegetables. I mean, we just really aren't. The iodized salts, forget it. That's a whole nother podcast. That is, forget even thinking that that's your source of iodine. It's garbage. But if you add a sheet of kombu to your stock that you're making, wonderful, tons of minerals, but the iodine is initially the reason why I started doing that for thyroid health. But all you do is you let that sit. You cover all that with water and you let that sit for anywhere from 12 to 72 hours. And it's a wide range. 12 hours is going to get you a light colored broth. 72 hours is going to get you a deep, robust stock. And if I had mine in here, you'd see mine is not even see-through. It's so
mine tend to be that dark too, because some days I get busy and forget.
Well, I've done that too.
I'll just up the time on the crack. I keep upping the time on the crack pot till I have time to take care of it.
And that's the beauty of it, is that really you can't screw it up as long as you don't let it boil dry. You got to add more water to it.
Right.
And stuff. But when it gets to the end of the time, you just strain it, and then I can mine because it lasts 18 months.
Yep.
You know, the nice thing too is with your bones, especially if you do the shorter time frames, you can reuse them. And I've seen a lot of homesteaders that do 2 and 3 batches. I will reuse them sometimes, not the real thin chicken bones. If I've got like a whole carcass, you know, or certainly beef bones, I will. And I'll do a second round, which will always get me a lighter second round, but still,
I always
it's
do
more
2
of a
rounds, and you're right. It comes out lighter, but just as good.
Yeah.
But then I save the bones after the second round too.
I
dig through the bones and I will throw them on a sheet pan and put them in the oven on 200 for a few hours till they get soft enough to where when you pinch them, they crumble.
Yeah.
And I use that in my garden.
Yeah, the bone meal. That's perfect. So we don't waste nothing.
Nope.
So if
we use everything.
Dog sitting, my son's dog, and she's jumping around. We don't waste anything. If you are making a point to get healthy meat, which is what you need to be doing, you need to be getting healthy meat sources, because that is so beneficial for your health in all the ways. And
it makes such a difference.
Yes.
Such a difference. The other day my daughter was like, Justin wants to know if you have any more of that good meat, because he definitely notices a difference. Because I mean, they're on a very tight budget. They typically go to the grocery store and they buy the hamburger that's there.
Of course.
Of course. So when I started buying enough to share and give to them, they noticed a difference. And I'm like, there's a huge difference.
There is.
Like organic coffee. There's a huge difference. And yes, it costs a little bit more. Mm-hmm. But I think the difference in it outweighs the cost.
100%. I mean, the health benefits, when you are what you eat, but you are also what your food eats.
That's right.
So if you're eating animals that have been poorly treated, eating garbage, it's transferring to us.
Yep.
And so the difference is massive.
Yes,
the difference is massive. It's incredible, the health differences. But that being said, if you're making a point to get the more expensive, good quality meat, make the daggone stock.
Yes.
Because I just mentioned a whole bunch of stuff that you're going to have in your house anyway that you're going to throw away.
Yep.
Wendy mentioned that we save the veggies. I save the stalks off my broccoli, my onion and my garlic peels and ends, and I
And
save,
the carrot ends and the celery pieces that aren't good and the
yeah,
let's see what else. Oh, collard, even collard greens and
yes.
spinach and stuff. I save that stuff.
Yep. If the spinach is getting ready to get a little wilty, it goes right in my freezer bag. And,
Yep.
anything like that. The only things I ever throw in special. When your herbs are starting to go bad,
Yeah.
if you've got some herbs in your fridge and, some rosemary or thyme or whatever, and it's
Throw them
starting
in
to look a
there.
little, throw them right in there. So, but the only things I ever put in special, whether I have them, or not, I always put in a sweet potato, always
Yeah.
cut them in half. And this time of year, I will have tons of sweet potatoes. But I always cut a sweet potato in half and put it in there because of the minerals and the kombu. Those are the only special things that I throw in there. Now, I have spices that I always have on hand, turmeric root, uh, black peppercorn,
Yeah.
allspice berries, cloves. I always throw those in there. And then whatever herbs I'm getting out of the garden. Certain
I
times.
always seem to have tons of oregano and tons of
Yeah.
basil. So
Yeah.
they always go in my stock.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. So, like I said, you can't screw it up.
So
Um, and when you store it, if you are somebody like us who does the canning, that's the money right there, because I can like 7 quarts per crock pot
yes.
full. I'll can 7 quarts. And if you think about it, if you go and buy the Kettle and Fire brand, which is one of the
Blonde
only
ones.
clean ones out there,
Yep.
that right there is like $50 for
Yep.
7 quarts. I mean, if not more, I might even be
And
undercutting
if
that.
you're not a canner, you can always freeze it.
Yeah, you can freeze it. Certainly if you're freezing in plastic, let it thaw out.
Yes.
Do not heat it up in the microwave
No.
to thaw it. I
If
used
you're
to freeze mine in
if
glass.
you are freezing in mason jars, make sure you leave extra room at the top
Yeah,
for expansion when it
yeah.
freezes.
Mhm. Yep. So I've got chicken stock going right now, and it smells darn good.
Nice. I
Oh,
did
the
that
one
probably 2
difference.
weeks ago, so I'm fully stocked on chicken, vegetable. I think I've got 3 more beefs left, so my next one will be beef.
Yeah, yeah. And that's something else to mention, is that it's that easy where you just throw everything in the crock pot for all of them. But for the beef broth, you want to roast your beef bones first. It'll
Yes.
help break the collagen down and makes it even healthier. So before you start your stock, you just put your beef bones on a sheet pan, and I always do it at 450 for about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And then when I put the bones into the crock pot, I also pour off all of the fat that's broken down and the collagen and pour
Yeah.
it right into there, because that's tasty.
That's the good stuff.
Yeah. So that is the one thing that you do differently with the beef stock that from all the others. And like Wendy just mentioned, she makes vegetable as well. I don't usually. I have, just because I always have so many bones, because we're definitely always got
Well, my my veggie bags tend to fill up a lot quicker
yeah.
than my meat carcasses. So,
I think I would be saying the same thing if I didn't have chickens, but I throw
yeah.
so much when
See,
I'm
I
not.
miss my chickens.
Yes, yes. I throw so much to my chickens. So otherwise, I agree. I would be in the same boat. All right, so that's a big one. The another one I wanted to share with y'all is I'm making homemade mustard.
I love that.
I love this stuff. It is so tasty. I do a Dijon. I've got it soaking right now in white wine. And this is just, what did I do? 1 cup of mustard seed. Of course, I get the organic in bulk. So 1 cup of mustard seed with 1.5 cups of the white wine. You can use apple cider vinegar and water. If you do apple cider vinegar and water, it's 1 part apple cider vinegar to 3 parts water. So basically, it would be like a 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar or 3/4 cup of water. So you do it diluted.
Okay.
You can also do it in just water. I mean, I don't think it gives it as much flavor. But anyway, all I do is I let it soak for 2 to 3 days. And this is another one you can't screw up if you forget on day 2. I've had it go to 4.
We love things like that because we
Yes.
get busy.
Yes. All you do is you add some salt and get your immersion blender. And right here in this jar, just blend it all
Nice.
up. Because it's been soaking, it's going to blend up easily. And then have a little splashes of water in case you need it to be a little bit thinner. And that's totally dealer's choice, whatever your personal preference is. I like how thick it turns out, and Bill and I love this mustard.
Nice.
But sometimes I'll, if it gets like extra thick, I'll add no more than a tablespoon or 2 of water. But it's just
thin it out a little bit.
Huh?
That'll just thin it out just a little
Yep.
bit.
Yep.
Nice.
And there's so many different recipes online. If you want, I've done a honey mustard. I've done where you just add a little bit of honey to it. You can do just yellow mustard. You can do so many different kinds, but this is our favorite with the white wine and the mustard seed, and it's just so easy.
Well, since you're on condiments, why don't you tell them about your mayonnaise recipe?
Oh, yeah, great idea. Now, that one is one that you have to make more often if you are making it.
But it's so good.
It is. It's very tasty.
Easy.
Yeah, it is easy. I do mayonnaise. It's and again, you put it in the jar just like this because it's no mess. You put raw eggs in the jar. And before anybody says, "Ooh, I can't eat raw eggs," you're eating raw eggs every time you buy mayonnaise from the store. Okay, that's what they use. At least with my eggs, I know where they come from, and I trust them a lot more than wherever the heck they're getting theirs from. So anyway, I put raw egg in there, a little bit of lemon juice, some ground mustard, and I use avocado oil. Avocado oil makes your mayonnaise taste so much better than olive oil, unless you have a really great
olive oil.
And it makes such a difference. I've made it one time before with just your standard olive oil, and it had to be rancid. It was just the most disgusting.
The avocado oil, I don't know. It just blends so much better with the avocado oil.
It does. And a little bit of salt and pepper. And then you put the immersion blender in the bottom of it, and you just let it go, and you'll start to see it thicken up at the bottom, and you just keep coming up further and further and further, and then next thing you know, your whole jar is filled with mayonnaise.
Yeah.
It works so well, and it tastes amazing. Bill and I agree that the Chosen brand is very similar in taste. We really love the Chosen brand, but it's not like you're sacrificing taste, and I'd much rather make my own than spend $12 on a jar of Chosen brand mayonnaise. One tip on that, if you do ever make it, you are following all the instructions, like if you've got my recipe, which I don't mind sharing, I've shared it a million places. So if you're in, my Simplify Clean Eating group on Facebook, or have ever seen it when I've posted it, the number one thing I get is people saying that it doesn't set up. Add an egg. That's always, I think that because I use such large eggs, because my chickens hatch huge egg, or not hatch, but lay huge eggs, that you probably need a little bit more egg if that happens to you. Gotcha. And once you add the egg, it generally will just set up perfectly. So
I've never had that happen, so I must be using the right size egg.
Yeah. I've never had a problem, but that is the one thing that I'll get people say, "Wendy, I don't understand. I followed everything and it's not setting up." And it started dawning on me. I was like, well, if they're using small eggs, they're a whole lot different than,
Yeah.
the ones that I use. So I started having them add an egg and it worked perfect. So,
Nice.
here's,
Wendy also has a great pancake mix recipe.
oh yeah, I do. I can jump to that one. This is all I got left. And tonight we're celebrating Jacob's birthday and it's his favorite supper. So
I should have grabbed mine. I'm actually playing around with your recipe to try to change it a little bit just to see how it does with different powders.
Ah, cool. Well, this, if you guys have my book, the Ultimate Meal Prep Guide to Simplify Clean Eating, available on Amazon.
That's
If
right.
you have my book, this is in there. This is the pancake recipe in there. It's amazing. I will
Get
be
the book, y'all. You won't regret
it. Thank you, honey. I'll drop the link in the show notes now that I know how to use show notes. But anyway, this is a mixture of the Bob's Red Mill all-purpose flour blend, the one in the red bag that doesn't have the xanthan gum, goat milk powder, or we're experimenting with some different milk powders.
Powders, yes.
Let's see here.
Coconut sugar.
Yeah, coconut sugar. And then your basics
powder.
like your baking soda, baking powder,
And salt.
And salt. Yeah. And anyway, super easy
That's
to make. You put it all in a big bowl and then you get you a cannon funnel and you just stick it in all these and it makes 3.5 quarts, close to 4 quarts.
Yeah.
When you follow that recipe.
Yeah, because when I make it, I always give a jar to my daughter-in-law and my daughter.
Yeah.
The babies.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And the kids love it when I
They
make
love
that.
it.
When I go out to Tennessee and take that with me, my grandkids just love it. So that is another one that's super easy. One that I do not want to miss telling y'all about. This is my sprouts. Y'all,
Yeah, let's do the sprouts because they're so easy and so good for you.
They are. So I want to show you how quickly this happens. Okay. Here's my jar of sprouts. They are 6 days old.
Oh, wow. They look great.
There's 5 days in between this and this. And
Nice.
that's it. So all you do with these are the easiest things to do. And mind you, this is a quart jar. Who has bought sprouts recently?
They're expensive.
This alone, this amount of sprouts, I mean, because they are thick in here.
Mm-hmm.
This amount of sprouts would run you well over $20 in the grocery store, if not way.
And you can buy sprout seeds in bulk for like next to nothing.
That's what I do. I get the broccoli sprouts because the vitamins that you get from broccoli sprouts is superior to all other sprouts.
Nice.
And you don't see them as often in the grocery store. All sprouts are great. All sprouts are very nutrient packed. I do have a blend I grow sometimes that has mung bean, radish, alfalfa, and that one's really great too. But I do broccoli sprouts because you just cannot beat the nutrient profile in them. And then, I make wraps, throw them on salads, make sandwiches and throw them on. I mean, I just eat them.
Yeah.
They're so good. But anyway, all you do is you start off with them soaking in the jar for 24 hours. And I'm right at 24 hours. So I'm going to be dumping this out. I just wanted y'all to see it before I did. And as you see, some of them are starting to turn white. They're starting to sprout. And I keep this under a dish towel. This is a sprouting lid, which is super important to have. Now, I'm going to tell you, if you look on Amazon, you're going to see a wide variety. You're going to see 6 little plastic sprouting lids like this for under $10, or you're going to see $40 whole sets with, lights and all the thing. I'm telling you right now, keep it simple. The only thing I wish I had is that I've seen since I bought these lids is they have the racks where you can keep them at an angle. Because I do believe that they would probably fill out even more because so much concentrates down, at the bottom. I just feel like it would give it more surface area on the bottom to
Yeah.
have them fill up even more. But I mean, they do great without.
Yeah.
Anyway, so after the 24 hours, you go ahead and you have the sprouting lid on it from the get-go. I will dump this. There's holes in here. I can show you in this one. See the little sprouts coming out? You just dump the water out, and then right through the holes, you rinse the seeds that are in there 2 to 3 times a day. And then I just keep them on, a napkin or a paper towel because they will be dripping. And up until about day 3 or 4, I keep them under a dish towel, because if you think about it, where are they sprouting normally? In the ground, right?
Yeah.
And I think that is one of the reasons why a lot of people don't have luck with these, because they just put them on the counter, and you need to cover them and replicate what they're doing in the soil.
Yeah, because they get too much light. That makes so much sense.
Yeah. So the reason why I then uncover them, once they start to grow, when they get about this tall, you're going to notice they're super, super yellow. That's because they need light. So I uncover them at that point. These have been uncovered for a couple days, and now they're really greening up nice, if you see.
Nice. Beautiful.
So anyway, very easy to do. And sometimes when I know that I've got an event that I'm planning for, and I'm going to be catering some stuff, I will have jars of this going in my kitchen, because, normally I just need one at a time because I'm the only one that's going to eat them. But if I'm making, like a bunch of bagel sandwiches with, the homemade bagel sandwiches with guac or hummus or something like that, you put these sprouts on there. So good.
Yeah.
So, I'll make up extras when I know that I need them for stuff like that. But it's so easy. And
it is easy, and it doesn't cost a whole lot to do that. It really doesn't.
Pennies. I buy a bag of the radish sprouting seeds. Gosh, it's lasted me forever. It's probably that big of a bag. Yeah. You're only putting a tablespoon of seeds in each one of these, and 2 to 3 teaspoons, so close to a tablespoon, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then it's literally as long as that bag lasts. And I probably paid $12 in bulk.
Yeah.
So it is really, it's so cost effective.
It's fun to watch them grow too.
Yep, it is. It is. So let's talk about spice blends, and then we'll hit it. Unless you want to hold that for next week.
Let's hold that, because I'm going to give y'all a little tease. I have a cream of anything soup base that I want to share with everybody, because we're coming into fall, kind of what I call soup season.
Yes.
So I want to give y'all a rundown on how to make a cream of anything base that you can use all season.
So we'll do that in the spice blends next week.
Yes.
Fantastic idea. I love it. So let's wrap up. What do you think? What are you doing this week, girl?
Y'all, I'm so proud of myself. I did finally get my elderberry gummies done.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so this week I'm working on tea blends.
Ooh, nice.
I have some interesting ones in the work. Rick and I tried one last night. All right, the one I'm drinking now is a Tulsi orange cinnamon clove one. Very good. We both love it. The one we tried last night, we both did not like it.
Okay.
So I need to tweak this one. That's what I do. I'll make a little jar like this. Mm-hmm. We'll try it, and then if we like it, I'll go and make a big jar.
That's smart. Smart.
That one was not a hit. We will not be using that.
That is not the one.
Trial and error.
Yes, for sure.
I'm working on a blend that should be equivalent to taking NyQuil.
Oh, I love it.
So I'll let you know. It's going to be better. There's no way around it not being bitter, but We'll see how effective it is.
Yeah.
That's what I'm testing right now.
And if it's bitter, if it's especially if it's being used medicinally, like there's no harm in adding some raw honey.
Right.
Unless you're really, really watching your carbs and trying not to,
Yeah.
I don't typically recommend adding stuff like that to your teas late at night because you
Yeah.
really want to stop a whole lot of
Well,
your
the good
calories.
thing about that is you can make the tea concentrated, heavily concentrated, and just take a shot.
Yeah.
Get it down.
Yeah.
I mean, NyQuil doesn't really taste good.
No, it doesn't. It does not at all. Well, that's awesome. I can't wait
Yeah.
to hear about that.
So I'll keep y'all updated on that, and if it works out, I'll share the recipe.
Awesome. Awesome. Very cool.
How about you? What you got going on?
I am getting ready for apple season.
Mhm.
That's why I'm trying to do all these stocks this week because I'm going to be slow cooking a bunch of apple butter
Well, I'm still
next
trying to
week.
figure out when I'm gonna go get apples.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have to tell you that I'm really struggling with one thing, and I'm gonna really try and plan better for next year. For a couple years now, I've been trying to find organic apple farms. They just don't exist on the East Coast.
I
I've
can't
been
find any.
researching, and there's a interesting place that we need to go on a field trip,
Field
Wendy.
trip?
We'll take Rachel.
All
Um,
right.
to Rodale. I think it's called Rodale Farms. It's like 5 hours from me, way up into Pennsylvania.
Okay.
But they teach regenerative farming. They have all of these amazing regenerative organic crops. A lot of what they teach, they take what they've learned and go out to California to teach.
Okay.
But they have a whole apple grove. The thing is that they have one day that they sell, and they actually do a festival, and it's September 14th. And I didn't learn about this until last week. So it was too late.
Oh man,
And
that's early for apples, isn't it?
I know,
I
but
thought it was October.
maybe higher up, because
Okay.
they're 5 hours north of here.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're gonna have to make a point to get out there next year for that
Yeah.
because that's my only struggle is that, I like to use the peels. I like to use all that stuff in my applesauce, everything. And you got to clean every stinking one of them because none of them are organic
Yep.
otherwise. Out west, if you are listening to us and you live out in really from the Midwest on, I can find tons of them in
Yep.
Wisconsin and, places in the middle of the country and, Washington State, Oregon, all
Yep.
out there. But there are,
I buy a lot of organic Honeycrisp apples from Misfit Market.
yeah.
I mean, because they're coming from the West.
Yeah. And so because I love going and actually getting the apples, I'm just having to sacrifice the fact that I know that they're not organic.
Just add one more step of soaking them in vinegar and baking soda.
Yeah, exactly. So, but gearing up for that, the Apple Harvest Festival starts next weekend up in Biglerville, Pennsylvania. We love to go to that. So we're going to head up there. I'm still doing my levels.
Nice.
Blood sugar. I'm telling you, I've learned a lot. Just watching how things are with me. I'm definitely insulin resistant. Still haven't gotten my blood drawn yet because my cycle wants to wait and take forever. But that's what I'm waiting for. But the way that my body is responding to different foods, I've purposely had days where I've gone heavier on the carbs just to see how my body responds. I can tell I'm insulin resistant based on my response. But the really interesting thing, and this is something I didn't expect to discover, is that when I went heavy on the carbs, it didn't just spike, come back down, and you were over it. My average glucose stayed higher by about 8 to 10 points for 3 days.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, man, all these people that don't know this already and are just going, oh, well, whatever, I'll just have high carbs today, but tomorrow I'm going to be back on. I'm going to be just fine. And that's been me. I've been
Right.
like, oh, well, I'm going to have a higher carb day today, but the rest of the week I'm going to be lower. It affected me for 3 solid days.
Wow.
So, and we're talking last Sunday, I ate my weight in nachos, not really, but I did a pan of nachos, and they were clean, they were a healthy version of our nachos, but they're still carby, because of the chips. And mine spiked up, and it literally took 3 days for my even my fasting sugar to get back
That
down
is
to where it was.
amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I found that fascinating.
Yeah.
So definitely learning a lot about how, what helps and what hurts
Yeah.
when you are insulin resistant, which is, again, one of the reasons I'm doing this, not only to heal myself, but to be able to help more people,
That's right.
when I can actually watch what happens. It's just fascinating to be able to do that. So
That's right.
all right, girl, we've hit an hour, and we
It goes by so fast. We have so much more to tell
I
y'all.
know, tons and tons and tons. So you all, we appreciate, all of the great feedback we're getting. Continue to send that to us. Billy, if you have not,
No,
if
I
you
haven't.
hear
I have
this and
not
you
gotten
haven't,
word from Billy at all.
yeah,
Diane's elderberry syrup kit went out, and I hope
good.
she's gotten it by now because it went out last Friday.
Good. So if Billy is watching, make sure that you send us an email to wendysonwellness@gmail.com.
Yes.
And Wendy will send out your elderberry syrup kit that you won last week. If you guys have any special suggestions or want us to
Things
be
that you want to
praying
learn
for
about
you,
or recipes that you'd like to have,
yeah,
feel free to comment or email us.
yep, wendysonwellness@gmail.com.
Yes.
All right. You guys have a great week. We will be back next Wednesday with so much more for you all. And we love y'all.
Love you.
Stay well.